And the last two, you don't have to be white to do that. But if you're the average white family, breaking it down, I'm only saying by group, because individually that shit would take too long. But as a group, the white family is worth like $200,000 a year or some shit like that. So they're doing fine. So you take out race and you just simply look at the middle class in America. Who has enough money to, after they pay their bills and their mortgage and their everything, and if shit goes wrong, shit goes south, they still got money to play with and a little bit of assets. You take them. There's not very many of them. Then you go lower, the people who literally have enough to pay all their bills off, blah, blah, blah. But if one thing goes wrong, if a job gets cut, if a career gets cut, if you get hurt and can't work, if someone has a horrible car accident, your family's fucked. Yeah. Chances are you probably come from a family where if somebody went to college, your parents didn't pay for it. Most likely. Because his whole beef is, kids are on their phones too much. You need to be more engaged as to what's going on around you, when in fact, young people are probably more engaged and know what's going on around them than our parents ever did. Because guess what? Your parents didn't have social media, but they were doing wild shit too. How you think you got here? Let's be honest. A lot of people who were like in their 20s in the 80s, or young teens, or even like young 30s, they were living their life up. They were living their life up. My mom said all the time, the 80s was arguably the best time to live, because everyone got along, the partying, everything. Like, mad shit happened in the 80s. Then you go to the 90s. Those people who were in their 20s or 30s or teenagers, whatever, they come into and mature into adulthood. And that's where us 90s babies and late 80s babies come in. So we grew up and we saw our parents and what they had and what they did. And they would work hard to buy us shit, technology, all this, that, and the third. And then all the technology that sprouts in the 2000s, after the 2000s, was meant for us, as Pete said a while back. All this technology and shit that you see out here on social media, this shit was made specifically for our generation, because we knew we could create it, we know how to use it, this, that, and the third. And then you got the younger generation that comes up after us, who was only born in this, and some of them don't even know what a typewriter is. Some of them probably only know 3D printing. Like, that's a whole different concept. So I'm personally tired of the young people bashing. When we sit up here and look at the fact that college debt is as high as it's ever been, we look at the fact that even if you go to college and get a degree, arguably your degree don't mean shit, because you can't translate your degree into a financial payoff in this capitalistic system that we live in. So not only are we broke and fucked up out here as millennials, you want to sit up here and say the thing that we use to make money, the thing that we use to interact with our friends who are either near or far, the things that we use to handle our business and go through daily lives like scheduling, emails, all that shit, just because it's all in one place on your cell phone, and we're looking at shit in our cell phone and we're using our cell phones to create memories that we can show to our other friends. So even if we're not in their lives presently, we can feel like we're still a part of their life, because let's be honest, that's what Instagram is for. Oh, you're not here right now with me, but you're going to see some shit I'm doing. Oh, I like that. Cool. Like video, and now it's just spawning to what it is today. To sit up here and make that fucking Herculean Michael Jordan dunking from half court ass effort, to sit up here and say that the way young people deal with each other, the way young people look at technology and handle it and utilize it, the way young people do that, that is the reason why college football ratings are low. When y'all charge mad prices for beer at stadiums, and then other stadiums, people can drink all day. Sorry, but if I'm going to be drunk as hell at a game all day, I'm eventually going to go somewhere else and party with my friends, Or I'll hit up a tailgate and get drunk, and if I don't have money to get in the game, I won't go. I'll just throw a party because I'm not going to go to the local bars in the area because they're way too expensive. So I'm going to find somebody's house. I'm going to be with my frat brothers or my sorority sisters or just with the homies at the crib in the dorm room, and we just going to barbecue. And that's how we going to live. You're blaming the way we interact with each other on low ticket sales. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. That's someone who has no connection to young people, and he works with young people all day long. And you come up with that. You pulled that horseshoe out your ass. Like, that's the best you could come up with, Pat Fitzgerald? Seriously? Really? Like, and people need to stop acting like, oh, I hate when people say, well, I was in college. Yeah, when you were in college, it was what, the fucking 90s? Or the 80s? It's a totally different place now, bruh. A lot of you older people would not be able to survive in today's climate under these conditions, under the resources we had. The 90s babies were like the last generation, the early 90s babies. I'm cutting you off after 94. 95, you need a special waiver. Sorry. That's just how it works. I look at, like, we saw what our parents were working towards and what they wanted for us, but we also saw we wanted to go a different route with the technology that was available to us that they didn't have, that they were working for and they were getting pushed out of their job for because they didn't know how to use it. But we knew how to use it. So we went to college and we did shit and we said we're going to major in this, this, and this. And they were like, oh, man, that's cool. Like, I wish I would have had that forethought. I wish I would have had all this at my disposal when I was your age. But because we have it, but we have none of the tangibles and resources that our parents had, and I'm not talking about anybody who does and just doesn't use it. I'm talking about the people who don't have the tangible resources that existed back in the 90s before the dot-com bubble bursted and all that shit. Like, you want kids who... And by the way, for football, most of the talent is in the inner city and in broke-ass areas. So where do you think you're going? Like, you're getting the broke kids to come play at your school. Because the rich kids are taking their ass to Harvard. Like, yeah, there's a couple rich kids that may go to Northwestern. They just went there to party, whatever. Most of the rich kids are taking their ass to Ivy League schools. And that is a whole stratosphere of success and resources that us regular folk will just not see. So I'm already at Northwestern, which is a fantastic university. Chances are my friends are broke because we're all broke-ass college students, and we want to go to this game. We get a discount for going to the game. Keep in mind, Pat Fitzgerald is 96-70 in the damn... I think it's been over 10 years, but he's 96-70 since he's been at Northwestern. 96-70. That's barely above. That's only 26 games above 500. Okay? It's only 26 games above 500. He's won 11 games, I think, 3 times. Never won more than 11 games. He's gone 11-3 3 times and had a 10-win season recently. That's the best he could do at Northwestern. Hadn't beaten Ohio State. Might have beaten Michigan, maybe. But still getting stomped out and slapped by Iowa every once in a while. Definitely out here. And might have beat Michigan State one time. Like, who the hell is Pat Fitzgerald? By the way, their actual attendance went up in recent years. Fun fact. Fun that he would say that, even though, you know, the attendance at your school went up. But since we're going to keep it broad and talk about all the schools, I'm sorry. If I go to Alabama and Alabama's playing Middle Tennessee State or fucking some D3 school that I've never heard of, I'm not going to the game. Unless I want to get drunk. And if I can't get drunk because they don't sell alcohol, and now they're going to start selling alcohol at SEC games, but the prices are too much, guess what we're doing? We are raiding a 7-Eleven or a Total Wine and just pre-gaming at the crib. Find that one person in the squad who knows how to cook and then just let them go. But This man has the audacity to sit up here and shit down millennials' throats yet again, like people in his age bracket love to do and up. Anyone over the age of 40, I just look at you like, so at what age did you decide you were going to say fuck young people and sell us out, but then still talk to me about selling me a dream about some shit that won't have any economic value that I can cash in on after I get it? When did you sell us out? Because there's a lot of grown-ass adults out here, so-called gatekeepers, that sold us out. And he just got paid, like, I think $5 million, $5.1 million recently. Got escalated in his contract. Must be nice. Must be real nice to sit up here and blame millennials yet again because the old system that you are considered time and tradition, that shit we're supposed to hold on to it. We're just supposed to hold on to it like there are values, like we really give a shit about it. Honestly, I want anyone who was born between 1988, 87, and like 94 to tell me, do you really give a shit about the Rose Bowl parade? Tell me, do you care? Tell me, do you honestly care? Do you sit there all day and watch all 12 hours of that shit? Please call into this show. Get at me on Twitter, Ozo Grande. Get at Touchdowns and Tangents. Get at Pete, Pete D Certified. Get at Swerve. Like, please, let me know. Maybe I'm out of touch, but I'm 27, and I highly doubt that I'm out of touch, and Pat Fitzgerald is right about this, because there was some bullshit to say. You got young players on your team, and you're telling... I want you to tell them, go to them and tell them, hey, it's your fault that NCAA, it's people like, kids like you, your whole generation, it's y'all collective fault that more people aren't going to these games, that you're playing and putting your body on the line and that you're not getting any fucking money for. That's your fault. Yeah. And what player on the team could have respect for you quietly, even if they didn't want to admit it? How many could say they have respect for you after you say something like that? Like, if we were playing touchdown and turnover, you know what this is? You know what his comments are? You're goddamn right. A turnover. Like,
this podcast.
That's what this podcast is like. Just constantly shooting shots. But yeah, to wrap this up, Fitzgerald shot his and he sounded really stupid. Like, how have you're 96 and 70 for your career at Northwestern. I don't think you've ever beaten Ohio State. You've never won a Big Ten title. And you have the audacity to want to pound the table and say, it's the young people's fault. Then you go out there with your old ass and play football then. How about that? How about that, Pat Fitzgerald? Since apparently young people and their phones is such a problem, how about you go play? It'd be really interesting. If I was a recruit, if I was the parent of a recruit, I was like, so is it my child's fault that his generation's, like, do you care? Like, he just comes off short-sighted. It just comes off really short-sighted to say that, and I'm over that whole dumbass comment. Anyway, to wrap things up with college football, so Utah defensive end Bradley and I said, when I asked, like, how's it like playing BYU in Provo, we said there's nothing worse than playing in front of 60,000 screaming sober white people. That is hilarious and frightening at the same time. Anyway, also at Big Ten Michigan Day, Jim Harbaugh, Michigan head coach, actually said something I totally agreed with, which I'm going to say this would be a touchdown if we were playing touchdown or turnover. He said that all students, all football players should just get a free transfer. That just one free transfer to go wherever you want. And then once you want to transfer a second time, then those rules and penalties kick in, and then keep the grad transfer rule, because that is a great rule. Once you graduate and get your degree, you should not be beholden to that university anymore. You should be able to go to whatever school you want to. even if it's their rival. That's why I thought the SEC was trash for years.